Hey yo, what's going on? Derek here. Turn this light on, see if that makes a difference. Yeah, what's going on? Wanted to hop on real quick and give this gentleman a call. He's actually a realtor in my market. Uh, Looking to connect with him, see if we may be able to help each other out. I've kind of went on rants in the past about how a wholesaler and a realtor can be mutually beneficial to each other. Uh, a lot of different things. What I'm looking for primarily, and what I'll kind of explain to him if he does answer here, is two primary situations and I don't even want to call them situations, opportunities rather, pop up for me to kind of throw a realtor an alley oop, or kind of recruit a realtor, because one is needed in order to actually wholesale the property. So one, and probably the main uh, opportunity here, would be when I am generating new leads. I often come across people who say yes, they are interested in selling, because that's my initial question, right? Have you ever, or would you consider an offer on your property, or have you ever considered selling? I have people all the time tell me, yeah, but then let me know that they are in the middle of doing their own renovation, or they just finished renovating and they're prepared to list it on market, and selling to, or receiving a cash offer and selling off market isn't in line with, their goals and what they're wanting to do. Again, they've just put in a fair amount of money into the renovation of the property, so there's no reason that they shouldn't sell it on market and get top dollar. And as a wholesaler, as an ethical wholesaler, it's my responsibility to let them know that, right? I'm not the best fit for you. If you were wanting to sell off market and, kind of avoid all of the hoops that you'd have to jump through in selling to a retail end buyer, then we can definitely explore that option. I can give you a cash offer, but it would likely be at a price point that wouldn't make sense for you, because again, you just dumped a bunch of money in renovating the property, so you deserve to get top dollar for it. In order to do that, you would have to open up your buyers pool to retail end buyers, like first time home buyers, uh, people looking to move into the area, people who are looking at this property as their primary residence. So in that situation, I always try to refer to them and kind of pivot on the conversation. So I have one woman who I just excuse me, spoke with the other day, who said, "Yeah, I'm interested. We're renovating right now. We've done X, Y, Z, bathroom, carpet, redid the kitchen." I don't remember her exact situation, but it was, it's along those lines. And it pretty much has to be along those lines if I'm ever going to refer it out to a realtor and not make them a cash offer. Because if there's still a lot of stuff that needs to be done, then I will kind of position myself like I did with this woman. And I said, because she says, well, we still need to put it on a new roof. We want to do this, we want to do that. So then I always kind of position it myself as well. Uh, would you be interested in possibly selling it as is and not finishing the renovation project? Because I can make you an offer and take it as is. I just want to, figure out what it is that your goal is here. Is it your goal to finish the renovation project so that you can get top dollar? Or are you just trying to liquidate and you feel that it's necessary to make these improvements in order to sell? Because if that's the case, then I want to let you know that I will buy it as is, right? I don't need you to finish the renovations in order for me to buy it. That's the benefit in selling it to me, right? But I do have to take in the the cost of what it's going to cost me to finish that renovation. So if you're not going to put the new roof on, I have to factor that into my offer price, right? So really just trying to figure out what their goals are. But then if they say, we really did intend on finishing the renovations here, I think that's what we're gonna do. Then I will give it to a realtor referral and say, yeah, absolutely. That, like I said, that if that's what your goal is to get top dollar, I think that's definitely the best route to take. Excuse me. So I don't want to, try to convince you to sell it to me at a discount. I want you to, uh, you know, get what you want from the property and receive what it's worth too, because it's worth more, obviously, if you're dumping a bunch of money into it. So then I ask, do you have a specific realtor in mind that you were going to list the property with on market? And then if they say no, then I go for the realtor referral and say, well, if you don't mind, I'd love to provide your contact information to a realtor that I work closely with. His or her name is this. I can have them reach out, and if anything, just have them, him or her, lay out all of your options so that what your options are moving forward when it comes to actually listing it on market. He can kind of explain to you that process, what you can expect, yada yada. And then if they say, yeah, sure, have them give me a call, which again doesn't happen like all the time, but granted, I'm not like marketing like crazy every single day. uh, but when I do get in a pretty good rhythm of marketing, they pop up pretty frequently, like one a day or like a couple a week. So that's something where I can just kick it to the realtor and say, hey, look, I got this lead. A cash offer is not going to work for them, but they are in the middle of their renovation. They think that they'll be done renovating. I try to get a timeline, right? I think they say that they'll be done renovating in about 30 days. So, and they do not have a realtor that they plan on listing with on the back end, right? And then I can just kick it to the realtor, throw him an alley oop. He can reach out, introduce himself, figure out, kind of have a similar conversation that I had with him, and then try to get the listing agreement for when they are done renovating. Then he can just simply list it on market and collect commission on that as the seller's agent, as the listing agent. Um, and then if he's gracious enough, he'll kick me back a referral fee after he gets paid on the back end. It's not something that I'm really, I mean, it'd be cool, right? But again, it's not something that I can really like capitalize on unless I'm doing this at scale and I'm kicking him like multiple leads every week so that he has closings happening like every month for me. Not for me, but rather for the leads that I send him. Um, and at that rate, then it would be worth it to try to put some type of structure in place where he kicks me back some type of referral fee. I'm not really tripping it in the beginning, to be honest. Want to build a relationship where it's mutually beneficial. And then for him, um, you know, it's kind of vice versa, right? So when I come across people who the property is in too good of condition, and I am honest with them and say, look, this isn't going to work a cash offer for you. You need to list on market to get top dollar. Your home's in too good a condition. On the flip side, he can start kicking me leads, right, of properties that get presented to him, or leads that come in his pipeline and say, hey, look, they're saying I want to sell on market, but their house likely won't pass inspection to get a conventional loan on it. Meaning that if a retail end buyer were to even want to buy this property, they would have to pay 100% cash. So, banks or conventional lenders aren't going to loan on the property because it's in disrepair. So, in that case, he can be honest with his leads and say, look, I don't think your property is in good enough condition where we could list it on market. I mean, we could list it on market, but the person who's going to buy this is likely going to be a cash investor because a bank will not loan on this property because it needs a new roof. There's a little bit of mold damage, stuff like that. And then he can bring it to me. I have an investor in the area. He does, a couple properties a month. I can go ahead and provide him your information so that he can reach out and get you a cash offer to see if that's something that you may be interested in. Then again, vice versa. He kicks me the leads that are too poor condition to list market, and then I kick him leads that are too good of condition to actually make a cash offer. And then there's a bunch of other stuff. I mean, I won't get into it, but that's really what I'm looking for right now is just kind of an exchange of leads. Uh, Again, if he gets people thrown my way, if I get people throw them his way, if it doesn't make sense for either one of us, but it will make sense for the other person. Um, and then if things pop up here and there, I can reach out. I just don't want to waste his time, really. And in a situation like this, like I don't really feel like I would be wasting his time because I'm already kind of vetting those leads, pre-qualifying them. I would never just send him a lead that wants retail price. That's just an unmotivated seller. You know what I mean? I always try to qualify them, make sure that they're wanting to list on market, make sure that they don't have a realtor in mind, or at least willing to talk with another realtor to explore their options, right? So anybody that I'm going or plan to, throw his way, it should be a fairly simple alley oop, right? They'll still need to be closed. They'll still need to get the listing agreement signed or what have you. But uh, I really, they're alley oops. They're going to come a little bit few and far between, but the ones that I do plan on sending are going to be vetted, are going to want his phone call. So that's the benefit for him, right? And then I was going to say the second really opportunity is for owner occupied properties. Um, when they will have to buy a new place or rent a new place, um, before I can actually buy their property or make an offer on their property, or I can make an offer on their property, but rather close on their property. So that's another situation where he can kind of assist me and we can tag team it, right? To where he's working with the seller to get a new place. I'm working with the seller to buy their current place. And then we can kind of, again, just tag team it where I either hold back some funds in escrow, we close on the seller's property, the seller uses those funds with the realtor to buy or put a down payment down on the second property, the new property. And then once they actually leave and vacate the property that we've closed on, then we can release the rest of the funds. I don't know if I mentioned it, but withhold maybe set 20 to 30% of the funds in escrow so that it incentivizes them to leave the property and actually move. Because then if not, then my end cash buyer is kind of in a bind and would likely have to evict the seller from their own house, quote unquote. But technically, at that point, it wouldn't be their house; it would be the cash buyer's house. Um, so that's why I've gathered. I've never done a deal like that personally, but I've gathered that a lot of cash buyers stay away from deals like that, where there's some type of a holdback or some type of a contingency that the seller needs in place because it's owner occupied and they need the money from the sale to buy the new place. So kind of staying away from that right now. I haven't again done a deal like that. I know it's possible, but not to say that I'm not going to explore my options when they present itself. But I think what would have to happen in that situation is I would have to get the property at a significant discount to make it that much more attractive to an end cash buyer, because they're going to look at that and be like, oh, I don't want to deal with having to deal with the owner, post possession agreement, close on the property, pay them for the property, but then not be able to get access to the property for another 30 days. Like, I don't want to deal with that. But then if they see, oh, wait, this property is worth 50,000 in as is condition, but they're only asking 30. So you're telling me if things go right, if things go the right way, I can just make a quick $20,000 more than what I think I can typically make on this. So that's you know what I mean? Like, it just becomes a little bit more attractive. So I think I need to get the prices down significantly in that situation. But for now, I'm kind of just avoiding it, trying my best to go after absentee owners, stuff of that nature. That's where I don't have to jump through a bunch of hoops. But let me give this guy a call. Hey, Roland, how's it going? My name is Derek. Keithan had provided me your phone number, said it was all right if I reached out.
Yeah, yeah. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm pretty good, man.
Yeah, he had kind of wanted to help me out with one particular lead here. Just a little background on myself. I live in California. Again, my name is Derek. I'm virtually wholesaling right now out in Houston, so I'm sourcing opportunity out there. And quite often, I come across situations where I could use a realtor's help. Uh, and he had kind of given me your number because I was talking with him about one specific lead I had.
Right.
I don't think that lead is like primed yet right now for say you to step in and help. I just wouldn't want to waste your time if that makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah.
But I think it would be good, and I wanted to obviously give you a call and just connect because quite often I do come across situations where uh, you, you know a cash offer as a wholesaler wouldn't make the most sense for somebody, and I try my best to be honest with the sellers every time when they
Right.
tell me that. And I just want to be able to really capitalize on the opportunity. If a cash offer doesn't make sense, and listing on market would make the most sense for them. I'd love to just start throwing you honestly some alley oops, and have you reach out to them, personally, and see if a listing agreement can be put together for yourself.
Yeah. What are you looking for in return?
I mean, to be honest, it's nothing that I'm really not expecting anything. If you're willing to kick back some type of a referral, that obviously be ideal. But for me personally, it's more so just again capitalizing on the opportunity for the seller, because it feels weird to me when I give somebody a call. They say they are interested in selling, but if it doesn't work for me, I kind of just push them to the wayside. It just kind
Right.
of doesn't feel right. So I'd much
Right.
rather just
Right.
start
Right.
referring them, and that's pretty much like the primary situation. And I don't want to call it a situation. I'd rather an opportunity is when I'm generating leads, and I come across somebody. My initial question is if they would consider an offer on their property, and they say yes. But then I come to learn that they're either in the middle of a renovation project or they just finished renovating completely, and then I'll kind of pivot, right? And I'll ask, well, or I'll let them know, to be honest, we're looking for properties that need a little bit of love, something that we can build the equity into through doing the repairs ourselves. But,
Right.
have you considered listing on market so that you can get top dollar? And they'll say, yeah, I've thought about it. And then I'll ask if they have a specific realtor in mind that they'd be, interested or working with if they did go that route. And a lot of times they say no, no, we don't have any specific realtor in mind. And at that point, I'd love to just, in the conversation, let them know, hey, I'd love to provide your contact information to a realtor in the area that I work closely with. If anything, he can reach out and kind of lay out your options for you to see if listing on market is the best option for you.
Yeah. Yeah. That works. That's why I became a realtor because I was in that situation. And sometimes the best option for people for what their aspirations were was to just deal with a realtor. So
Right.
I got a license and became a realtor for that reason. So
Yeah.
I totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, perfect. And that's, I think, the number one kind of opportunity that I come across most frequently. I even have, and this is, just to kind of be frank with you, I've been looking for a realtor that I can kind of work with exclusively like this. That really, at the end of the day, I'd love to just throw some alley oops to you, and maybe vice versa. I don't know how often people come to you with properties that may not, pass inspection or qualify for like a conventional loan. But if those ever cross your plate, I'd love, if you could kick them my way too, and let them know, hey, just so we can list it on market, but it's likely going to be bought by a cash investor anyways. So if you want to
Yeah.
get in contact with somebody who I know is investing in the area. But yeah, so that's like I said, the primary one is really when people are in the middle of renovation or have just recently renovated. The second opportunity is like owner occupied properties,
Right.
where they would actually need to, or rather they're looking to buy a new place, and then kind of need the funds from the sale of their property to buy a new place. I kind of avoid that right now because it's just like a little bit too many hoops to have to jump through. But that's definitely another situation that pops up pretty
Yeah, but as
frequently.
a realtor, I deal with those contingencies.
Okay. Okay.
So
Yeah. And
I,
that's
I,
that's what's going on with the woman who, I don't know if he had mentioned to you. That's what's going on with her, right? She wants to
yeah.
sell her property. Um, she wants to move out to, I think, Brownwood. She said, I'm not familiar with Brownwood, but that's where she wants to move out to, and she's looking to. And this is something that I was kind of unfamiliar and didn't want to speak to when I was on the phone with her, but she was talking about possibly making offers on places in Brownwood with the contingency of needing to sell her property first. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. That's common.
okay, okay, yeah, I
That's
just didn't know.
yeah. We got amendments for that. Like, yeah.
Okay, yeah, then absolutely, and that's why I'm just a little unfamiliar, and I didn't want to have to like start throwing you opportunities that would be more of a headache than anything else. Because with the ones that I was talking about first, where they're saying, we're renovating or we just finished renovating, we want to sell on market, but we don't have a realtor. Those ones I'd imagine are easy, and that's really my intention. Is I don't want to have to like waste your time. I'm not just gonna start throwing you leads that I haven't already pre-qualified or vetted first. Um,
Yeah.
that's my goal, is to try to at least get those few answers or a few questions answered, of are you wanting to sell on market, do you have a realtor in mind? And if they say, yeah, I want to sell, no, I don't have a realtor, then I'd love to just start throwing you those opportunities.
The only thing about it, I just looked up Brownwood, and that's like halfway across the state.
Yeah.
So she yeah, she can still deal with two different realtors though.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but that contingency is not really an issue.
Okay.
But it would be more on the realtor in Brownwood to put that in her contract. Whoever she's dealing with in Brownwood.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
And that's
Houston, I can totally list the property. And she still, depending on the condition of the property, she still may have to deal with a cash buyer.
yeah,
So
for her.
is that what you want to do? So basically, you're asking me on my end, when you say if I could throw something back to you, you're saying that you'd like for me to think about you as a cash buyer.
Yeah, exactly.
But you're wholesaling. Okay.
Exactly. So, when I come across opportunities that are probably a little bit in too good of condition for it to make sense to make a cash offer, I wouldn't even want to insult those sellers. I would rather just pivot and refer them to you, and then vice versa. If you come across leads that seem to be in too poor of condition, that likely wouldn't be purchased by like a retail end buyer,
Right.
then yeah, for you to kick them my way, I'd love that.
Yeah. That's fine. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Perfect. And yeah, like I said, for that lead, that woman, as you mentioned, it seems like more of a hassle than anything else. I'll obviously stay in contact with her and see what she's wanting to do, but she wasn't really, you know, she wasn't ready to make a decision, or at least it seemed like she was ready to make a decision, but she hadn't really put in all that thought up front. So when I started asking her questions, it was like the first time she had even thought about some of that stuff. So
Oh yeah, okay. I see what you're saying.
yeah,
What part of town is she in?
she's in South Houston.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that, yeah, for her it would be that, the condition for her, it would be too poor to list on market, in my opinion. But for that type of a situation where the properties are owner occupied and I'm approaching them to buy their place, but they're looking to buy something else, I'd love to get you involved so that we can kind of tag team it, where I'm looking to make an offer for them on their current property, and then you're helping them out by being the buyer's agents for them to get the second property, their new property.
Right. Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
And I can work with you on kind of, getting an update on where you are with buying this property.
Exactly.
Because it's going to have everything to do with the contract for the new property.
Right. Exactly. And I'm Keithan had kind of mentioned that you got that I don't know how much experience you have in wholesaling, but you're familiar. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what I need, because in the past I have worked with a few realtors, but they know what it is, but they don't understand how like sensitive some of the language that you say to the sellers can be. So I had a deal fall through. The woman had, because to be honest, I don't go out of my way to let the sellers know, hey, I'm in California, because that'll turn them off, and that's what happened. She had let them know, he's in California, right? Or he's gonna flip this property, make money, or whatever the case may be. She just started kind of talking out of turn, and it ruined the opportunity, and the deal fell through. So, but I know it's because she wasn't extremely familiar with the process. Had she known and had she been extremely familiar, she wouldn't have said those things. So
Yeah, exactly. And I totally get that.
yeah.
And if
Perfect.
you're feeding me to that, um,
Hello?
hello.
Yeah, sorry, you cut out.
Yeah, so and I totally understand what you're saying, and if you're feeding me the lead to kind of finish the deal on the other end, they're looking for a house. I understand your interest, and I will protect that as much as I can, short of doing anything wrong.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I wouldn't just by chance and say anything like that. You know?
Yeah, yeah. Perfect.
You know?
Perfect. Is there so what I kind of do, and what I plan to do is if I can generate enough of these retail leads to start throwing your way, I'm going to try to maybe shoot you either an email or a text like weekly with the leads that I think I may be, maybe appropriate for you, along with, the address and any notes that I get, like, in the middle of the renovation. I try to get the few things that I try to get is, what their expectations are, what their timeline is, especially if they're in the middle of the renovation. Um, and then if they already have a realtor in mind. So
Right.
I try to, I'll try to get all that information to you so that you have some notes at least when you go to reach out to them, something to refer to. Um, yeah, do you think email or text? Do you have a preferred method of way for me to shoot you these?
Either one. I'll send you my card.
Okay.
You can take a text message. You just got a smartphone.
Yep.
We're talking on. Yeah, I'll send you a copy of my card in a digital form.
Okay.
So,
Perfect. And something else, what I'll do, like I said, I mean, I've been doing it for a little bit and been trying to really build that kind of exclusive relationship with a realtor. I haven't really had one where it worked out, but I'm, what I can do as well. I plan to kind of go through my pipeline into some of my older opportunities where I've kind of already pre-qualified them as retail leads, and I can just start sending you those as well, just right now to kind of kick it off.
yeah. And what may help you is that, I would be able to tell them with probably, I don't know how they're looking at you, but I'm a realtor.
Hmm.
I would be able to kind of bring them back to earth
Right.
with their expectations of their property. And I can show them reports on what their property is actually worth with like evidence to back it up.
Right. Yeah.
So that
Definitely.
might just bounce them back to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Inadvertently.
Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
you know what I mean? Because you think it is worth 200, but I'm showing you all your neighbor's house has gone for 180.
Yeah.
And their house is in pristine condition. For
Right.
180, you want 200 and your roof is caving in.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
can have that conversation with them. I'd actually go to their house and show them a report
Right.
of the inside of their neighbor's house. They never saw the inside of their neighbor's house. I can show them that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Compare it and yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Take a
yeah,
look. Yeah.
CMA basically.
Yeah. 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 Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. That'd be perfect. And
Yeah.
I think
So
that
that might help you too. It
exactly.
might bounce them right back to you.
Right. And I think that probably, now that you mention it, would be common. Like I have one woman that I plan on reaching back out today. It's pretty much her exact situation. Her and her husband are in the middle of the renovation project. They've already, redone the bathrooms, the kitchen, this, that, and the third, but they still need to put a new roof on it. Right. So it's like I can make you a cash offer, but I gotta take that into consideration. Or I can, have you talk with a realtor to see, what you think you may be able to get if you want to finish the renovation. And then, she may go to you and say, get an idea of what to expect on the back end if she does want to move forward with, finishing the renovation. Or, if she was kind of had higher expectations, it may make more sense for her to just say, you know what, like I'll just sell it as is. There's no point in me finishing this renovation if I'm not going to be able to get what I thought I was going to be able to get.
Exactly.
Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. That sounds good. Yeah, this is my direct line here. So if anything ever comes up, feel free to reach out. I'll be on the lookout for that text with your card, and then like I said, I can start kind of compiling some of my maybe older leads, and then definitely start throwing the newer ones your way when they pop up.
Yeah, yeah. And text me your name.
Yeah, we'll do.
When I text you, just respond back with your name. And like I said, the older ones that were thinking more real estate, you can use me to just give them a dose of reality.
Yeah.
All the old ones, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I give them a dose of reality. Now, if it works out, and then I'm gonna list it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
But if it's not if they're not, if they're not willing to accept what I'm saying or whatever, at least I just know that I know what you're doing,
Yeah.
and I'll be candid with them,
Yeah.
and I'll call you and let them know, hey, this is how the conversation went, and
Perfect.
it may be worth calling them back.
Yeah, perfect. That's honestly all I'm looking for. Like the way that you're talking and the way that I'm approaching all these opportunities is if it doesn't work for me, it's gonna and I know that it's gonna work for somebody else, like a realtor to get the listing,
Yeah,
then I don't wanna insult them with a cash offer, but I also don't want to just ignore the fact that somebody could list this. You know what I mean?
right.
So yeah, perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
Sounds
Let's do
good.
that then.
All right. I appreciate you taking the call and look forward to working with you.
Absolutely.
All right, have a good one.
All right.
Boom. Um, that's perfect. Actually, if you heard what I kind of said at the end there, that's all I'm really looking for is somebody who understands what I'm doing and understands where there is opportunity for me, and then vice versa. Like I was saying, I understand where there is opportunity for an agent. If it doesn't make sense for me, but it does make sense for an agent, I'm not going to be so you know, competitive or closed off to the idea of collaboration with an agent, then I'm not going to refer them uh, to get what they want. Right? If they're saying no, I really want to list it on market. I know what you're saying. I know that you're saying that I probably won't be able to sell it to a retail end buyer, but I'd love to at least talk with an agent and figure out if that's something that I can do. And I'll say absolutely. And this is what he's saying. The opportunity that he would end up kicking it back to me is if this for instance this woman's like, oh well, we've already done half the renovation, but there is a hole in the roof and the foundation is caving in, but I'd really like to talk with a realtor to see what I may be able to get once we're done renovating. Then I can say, sure, here's Roland, talk with him, and then Roland will be able to say, like, okay, what are your expectations after you patch the roof up, put a new roof on, fix the foundation? What are you hoping to get for the property? And then they say 200,000. And then, like he said, well, your neighbors' properties that are comparable properties here, they're going 180 brand new. So yours will be brand new, but I think your expectations are too high, right? And then if they're like, whoa, we needed 200, yada, yada, like there's not even any point in me finishing this roof and the foundation. If we can't get 200, we'd much rather sell it for 140, 130 with no headaches involved, right? Granted, it's not going to cost them 50,000, the difference between 180 and 130. It's not going to cost them that much to change the roof and fix the foundation. But if they fully understand what the true benefits in selling off market are, which is speed, convenience, lack of inspections and appraisals, all that stuff. There's just less hoops to jump through. Maybe they will be worth, or they would consider just selling off market to a cash investor like myself, and that way he can say, well, if you really wanted 200, like maybe selling it as is right now without dumping that extra money in to get this up to speed is something that you should consider. Derek is making you a legitimate cash offer at this price. I mean, I don't think he would really have a fiduciary duty to the seller to, I mean, I don't know, I don't want to get into legal legalities of it all, but they you do have to be careful with the type of stuff that you're saying as an agent, especially because your license, you're monitored by the um, National Realtors Association, NAR, National Association of Realtors. There's checks and balances when you are a licensed agent, and there is certain things that you wouldn't be able to necessarily say, or if you do get a listing agreement signed with an seller, your fiduciary, your I don't want to use that word for those who don't understand what it means. You have a duty, you have an obligation to your seller. Now that you've said I will list your property on market, and we've put it together an agreement in writing and paper, now your obligation is to that seller and that seller only. So if you were to try to pull a fast one and like sell it, in a shady way, or do anything that kind of goes against the grain, um, you're technically in breach of your contract. Again, I don't want to speak like I know what I'm talking about. I'm not a lawyer or even a real estate agent. Not like I just know that this is common, right? Your obligation is to the seller once you sign that listing agreement. Your obligation is to the buyer if you're representing them as the buyer's agent. If there's some type of contract in place, your fiduciary or your obligation is to them now, and nobody else, or at least they come first, uh, ahead of anybody else. Which is like what he's saying. And that's all I ask for is to at least keep me in mind. I'm not saying try your very best to kick me all of the leads that you think can't sell on market, because that would be unfair of me to ask. But if a situation does pop up, just keep me in mind. You know what I mean? Don't feel any sense of obligation to me, because you have a fiduciary duty to them. But as he said he would do, and what the premise of our whole conversation was, is just to be ethical and honest. When I come across these sellers who want retail and they likely can get it, I'm gonna tell them. I'm not gonna say, I don't think you can get that. You should go with my cash offer. That's unethical. That's not how you should be doing business. Rather, in that opportunity is for my realtor and not me. Oh, you want retail, you want exactly what your home is worth, uh, or exactly what your home could probably sell for on the market, and you just finished renovating a complete renovation last month. You know what? You're probably right. You should list it on market. Have you considered? Yeah, I have. I just don't want to, do this, and that. Well, to be honest, I think you probably could get somewhere close to that. I don't want to speak, for the realtor, but what I'd love to do is get you in contact with a realtor that I work closely with. If you don't already have a person in mind, that way he can kind of walk you through this, lay out your options for you, so that you at least know what to expect if you were to go list it on market. And again, vice versa. If he comes across somebody whose property's run down, he's not going to say, you know what, I think this probably could get top dollar on the market. He's not going to say that, because he wants to set clear expectations as well. Hey, look, I don't want to be unethical here. I don't want to be dishonest. If we were to list this on market, it probably wouldn't get too many buyers. The buyers that you would get are going to be cash investors. So what I'd like to do is, if you're open to it, is just to reach out to a bunch of cash investors that I have in my network to see if they may be interested in this before we even list it on market. That way he can kind of spit off the benefits in doing that. They'd be able to uh, handle it much quicker. Typical turnaround time is like 3 to 6 months when you list it on market, because people have to qualify for loans, they have to get inspections, they have to get appraisals, they have to get land surveys, all types of stuff. But if you go to a cash investor, they'll just need to walk the property once, maybe twice, get a feel for the condition and what they're going to need to spend in the repair costs, and they'll be able to handle it much quicker. And I won't even charge a commission for that, because I would likely try to kick him back something if we were to close on the property. So hopefully you got something from that conversation. Uh, he brought up some points that I really liked, and some kind of opportunities that I didn't even really think of, like him being able to kind of, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Me and my partner used to play this kind of like a two-man game, right? Where one person, people like two wholesalers will do this. One wholesaler A, calls and says, "Hey, yeah, we like your property. We can offer you 50,000." And they say, "Oh no, that's way too low." Then a couple days later, wholesaler B, who is in cahoots with wholesaler A, will call that same seller and act as if they have no idea who wholesaler A is. They will pre-qualify them if they are willing to open up on the conversation like they did with wholesaler A. They pre-qualify them, get the condition, and they say, we're really interested. We would likely be somewhere around 30,000. And then they'll say, 30,000. Oh my God. I mean, I have other people who are making me offers for 50,000. Wholesaler B, who just offered 30, can be like, I mean, honestly, if they're offering you 50, I think you should take that. You know what I mean? I don't foresee me being able to come anywhere close to that with the amount of repairs that the property is going to need. Kind of deceptive, unethical. I don't know, but that's a game. That's a 1-2 game that a lot of wholesalers play, and that's kind of what he was talking about. Um, playing that like 1-2 two-man game on these sellers that he can kind of kick them back to me and be that voice of reason. Like, oh, he's offering you this. Like, I think, I don't want to speak for him, but if we were to list it on market, I think we could get this. If you're planning on spending this in renovation costs and you're going to pay me this for commissions and you're going to pay this for closing costs, if we're going to sell it on market, you know, you could probably take that offer, and after all is considered, you may be looking at like a $5,000 to $10,000 price cut. But if the convenience aspect is worth that much to you, I think that you should probably go with Derek, the cash investor. So I'm excited for that. I'm going to do what I told him I was going to do. Is I'm going to go through my pipeline, figure out everybody who I have here that kind of serves as a realtor referral, retail lead, kick them his way, see if something we can make something shake here. So appreciate you guys tapping in. If you listen to this whole thing, you're one of my biggest supporters. So I appreciate you. Go ahead, drop a like if you liked the video. If you have any recommendations or suggestions on future content, feel free to comment that on this video as well. I get notified every time there's a comment left on any of my videos. So please feel free. If you have any recommendations or suggestions in terms of the process of wholesaling real estate, I'm an open book as well. Maybe not an open book, but I welcome your suggestions with open arms, because by no means am I a pro. I just know that I probably know a little bit more than somebody who's just jumping into this game. So, again, if you have experience in this industry in wholesaling real estate, please do offer up any advice that you're willing to share, because I am willing to take it. And anybody who is new to the industry, I'd love for you to drop any questions that you may have, and I can try my very best to answer them the best way I know how. And if you're new and you like this type of content, please subscribe as well. Try to go live at least once a day, Monday through Friday. You're making live cold calls on the dialer, following up with my warmer leads, my lead follow up. I'm also kind of pre-recording some videos, any like mini series. So I have like a driving for dollars mini series on how I am driving for dollars virtually and building out my driving for dollars list that way. What else? I have a little mini series going as well on how to comp using PropStream, how to come up with your after repair value, how to come up with your max allowable offer to the seller, so you know kind of the price points that you're talking about when you're on the phone with them. And yeah, if you have any suggestions on type of content again that you'd like to see, please feel free to comment. And once again, if you're new to the channel and you like that type of content, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when I'm going live Monday through Friday, so you can join us live and get your questions answered at that time. Appreciate you guys. Until the next one. Peace.